Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that appreciates more than one kind of spirit. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a professional medium and a teller of ghost stories. Tonight, dear listener, let's take a haunted field trip together down to the local pub that does have more than one type of spirit. Tonight, I have for you ghost stories of haunted bars. And after that, I have a new in-studio spirit reading to share with you, as well as a message from the spirits. So please join me at my seance table to see if that message is for you. That's later on in the podcast. But for now, raise a glass. The ghosts are here to toast with you right now. A few years ago, I bartended in a dark, dank, creepy, hole-in-the-wall bar. During that time, sure, I witnessed countless weird things done by my regular living customers. This story, however, is about the poltergeist activity that I witnessed inside that bar. I was all alone at work the first time it happened. I was sitting at the bar, waiting for customers to come in, when one of the margarita glasses that was hanging upside down above the bar slid out from the overhead glass rack and broke mid-air. The broken glass, the pieces remained suspended for 2 to 3 seconds before they finally dropped, falling to the floor. It was exactly like something out of a horror movie, only it was real, happening right in front of my eyes. I told myself, I'm here alone, nobody is going to believe me. I kind of did a mental shrug and picked up the shards of glass. I never mentioned it to my boss or my coworkers. It's weird because at the time, I was more concerned that they would think I was crazy. However, now that I don't work there anymore, remembering it really creeps me out. 2 or 3 days after that, I was sitting in the same spot, and my mother was sitting next to me. This was a new job for me, and she was a little worried, so she was there to check out the place. Meanwhile, the busboy was crouched down at the fridge under the TV, stocking the beer when it happened again. My mom freaked out. Did you guys just see that? That glass just slid out on its own and broke. Did you see that? What the hell is going on here? I remember the busboy and I just looked at each other and shrugged, both admitting that, yeah, we saw it. At the time, I just felt relieved that someone else had seen it, and then I knew I hadn't been losing my mind the other day after all. When I told my mom the same thing had happened to me the other day, she asked me why I didn't tell her this before. I think it was because, like I said, I had been alone, and rather than say something to anyone, I just tried to put it out of my mind, because I couldn't rationally explain why it happened. By the time I got home from work, I had done so well putting it out of my mind, I forgot to tell her. My mom was terrified. She had never seen anything like that before, and she wanted me to quit. I stayed there for a long time after, and it never happened again. Oddly though, the busboy and I never talked about it, even though we could discuss just about everything else. Before my dad was married, he worked as a builder, and one day he was asked to do some plumbing work at the local pub. My dad was down in the cellar looking at some pipes when he heard little footsteps and movement. My dad called out and asked if anyone was there. No one answered, so he presumed it was his imagination and resumed his work. A few minutes passed, and he heard a little girl giggle. My father asked her to come out from where she was hiding. After no appearance was made, my father started searching for her as he was concerned for her safety playing down there in the dark. As he turned around, he saw a little girl in pink pajamas with long brown hair. He asked her to go upstairs to play. Still, she stood there. As he moved closer, he noticed the little girl's face looked burned on one side, and her hair looked singed on the front part of her head. My father stopped in his tracks and just stared at the little girl. He said she giggled and disappeared right there in front of him. My father bolted upstairs and told the owner what had happened. The owner told him her name was Cindy and that she had died a long time ago after an accident involving fire. The previous owners had left, but still, Cindy appears now and then, probably looking for company or to cause a little mischief. My father often wondered through the years if Cindy had finally moved on. I worked in a building that was once the old post office that was then made into a restaurant and bar. The establishment had a rumor of being haunted, but at the time, I just didn't believe in those stories. I have every reason to believe in them now. When I worked until the bar closed, at 1 a.m., I would go to the back and make myself some food and wait for the owners and their friends to leave so that I could close up. The door back there led to the basement, and the basement was beyond scary. I could always hear footsteps, and sometimes I could feel someone present. It would make the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and a chill would run through me. But I would ignore it, thinking it was just me being silly, until one time I watched as dinner plates were being tossed one by one onto the floor. I had to leave the kitchen for a moment, take a deep breath, and calm my heart down. When I came back to clean up the mess, there was flour all over the floor. Mind you, it was a very secure building, and I was the only one there when this happened. I had watched the plates that were stacked perfectly fly off one by one and crash to the floor. I never went back into that building alone. Spooky season is upon us. Listen to I Talk to Ghosts for an atmospheric chill and to never feel alone, knowing the spirits are always around you. The autumn months are the perfect time to share and recommend this podcast to your ghoulish friends. Thank you for supporting the podcast and sharing the spooky. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Heidi. Heidi, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Oh, I am delighted to talk to you this evening. I feel like there are a couple people here to talk to you. When I opened up the space, there was a woman there right away who feels she feels like she's on the practical side of things. I'm getting like grandmother energy. Do you recognize this? She feels learned and practical and just reassuring. I think she was just coming in to say, hey, I'm here, in a supportive, reassuring way.
Yeah, makes sense. To me, it would be my great aunt, but she was like my grandma.
Did she like to read? Did she have a lot of books?
Yes.
It feels like nonfiction and fiction, like like this was her thing.
She was a doctor.
When she got older, did she go into assisted living or something like that? Okay. She's bringing that up. Did you visit her there?
Yes.
Okay. She's just bringing up, you lit up the room for her. You two had a special relationship. She feels like you're her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. She wants you to know that if she can lend you supportive energy as you're going forward, just know that everything is okay. And she's coming at it very practical, like, this is all right. This is part of life. Everything is okay. And, but she feels rather delightful in her personality as well. She feels a little, did she have a little bit of a whimsical side to her?
She was very, I mean, if you knew her, but she was very like, I don't want to like proper, but if you like knew her, she was more whimsical.
Yeah, because when she first came in, the first thing I said was practical, but wait, it's like now that we're warming up, I'm like, oh no, she's a little silly. She's, a little whimsical about, I do want to bring in your dad for you. He is coming through with very good-natured energy, really kind-hearted.
Yes.
Did he joke a little bit? Because the first thing, it felt like he's like, is it okay if I come in with a joke? And I'm like, I don't know.
He would sarcastically say things kind of, I don't know how to, it wasn't like a punchline joke, but it was like
Exactly. I'm having a hard time articulating it, but he's coming in with this humor, just this good-natured, humored way of telling you he's okay, and did he pass kind of suddenly?
Yeah.
Like he didn't have time, to talk.
No.
He wants to say that he wishes he could have planned it better in, let me chart this out kind of way, rather than surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. He feels like he has a lot of layers to him, as kind-hearted and good-natured and approachable as he was.
Yeah.
It feels like there was some things he didn't like to talk about, and the way I'm feeling is like his world stopped for a while, and he wasn't quite sure how to navigate that, and he kind of veneered over it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, when my mom died, yeah.
That was really hard. He felt like his life stopped.
Yep.
And he was kind of walking through it a little bit like a character in his life. And he doesn't want you to worry about that now because he's with her, and he can see the big picture of it now. And I hope that's a little bit of a comfort to you, because he really wants to extend that of, he doesn't want you to worry about that. And yeah, just know that he feels so much more whole now, and it's okay. Okay. Did you two get to do like trips together?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Is there Is there a story about like getting lost? Or
that's my entire, if you go on a trip with me, I'm gonna get lost. The thing about getting lost is this, and I said this at his funeral.
Okay.
So my dad believed that if you went somewhere once, you should be able to go back there. And I have zero sense of direction. So he had atlases where he would like, because I'm always traveling somewhere. So he would get the map out and look, and it was actually open because I went and saw the eclipse in Cleveland, and it was open to Ohio, where because that was prior to him passing, the last place I was. So he always like researched where I was going, but he would always make sure we had maps for our car. Like I can't read a map, but I would have a map in my car because he would make sure. So he was like very, very good with directions, me not. So
yeah, because I see this when communicating for others where they'll talk about something kind of heavy and then immediately they're like, but let's talk about this. And like, ask her about getting lost because that's hilarious. And it's almost like to bring that levity to it again. And I always appreciate that. And yeah, that's wonderful. Let me see what else he would like to say. He was well respected.
oh, he was.
He's not afraid to talk about that. Okay. I'm seeing like composition books, you know, that like the black and white college composition books.
Again, like I don't know if this is like when he was in college, his English professor passed him and said, never take another English class again.
It's like, get out.
So no, he did not write.
He
did not write.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. He does have a sense of humor because another exercise I go through is I'll say, is there an object you'd like to like give me that represents something? It's symbolic. And he gave me this big pen. And I feel like that is such a joke in this context. So that just really lines up with him. Okay. And at the same time, when he's joking about that, I'm also getting this mental note of document everything.
Yes.
Is what he's saying. And like that's coming through very clearly as words. And I don't get words very often, but when they show up, it means something. He's like, document everything. So if you can connect that and that means something to you, awesome. Yeah, and he's just very, very much so make a plan, commit to the plan, and focus on the step you're on so you don't get overwhelmed, is what he's saying. He seems like a very practical guy too.
Yeah.
That is coming through a lot. He's conveying this sense of know yourself. And that's your superpower. That was his trick to life, was knowing himself, not trying to be anything else. And with that comes a sense of confidence that it's like, you can do this. Everything's good. You're you. And it's like he wants to take that out of himself and stick it in you, in your heart, and be like, you know what? You're so good, and there's nothing to worry about because you're you and you can't be anyone else. And it's perfect. It's perfect the way it is. Okay. I do want to open the space for you. Is there anyone else you were hoping would come through for you tonight as we're talking?
Yeah, my mom.
Okay.
your mom, she's coming through with really that sense of knowing herself. She was a smart woman.
She was.
Very smart woman. Was she a teacher?
She was.
Okay.
Yeah, she taught in elementary school. But she left it to work with my dad, but she was.
Okay. She said kids were hard, but it's really good to get to them when they're young.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Elementary school.
She's showing me flower. Yeah, she's showing me a lot of flowers.
She was very much a flower person.
Like the big flowers, like peonies or something.
Yeah. She had a peony plant in the hydrangea.
I can't even say it right. Peonies. Peonies?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because she's showing me these big flowers. And yeah, it feels like on the pink side of things. Okay. I feel like she really appreciated a well set up table.
Yes, I was just thinking yes. And the fact that her grandkids have no idea how to set a table kind of saddens my heart.
It's never too late.
True.
But the just immaculate silverware and the tablecloth and how you could practically measure where things go and just how lovely an experience that was for her. It wasn't intimidating. It was just, there was a flow to it for her. And she just really, really loved that. Is there anything you wanted to ask her?
I don't really have a specific question.
Sure.
I still have dreams with her, and my siblings do too, and we always be like, "Oh, I saw Mom."
It's like, I just want to ask her, it's like, hey, okay, well, what you got? What advice? First off, I do want to reiterate, know that she's here and you are connected, but I think you know that. And what she wants to convey is not making a decision is a decision. So if you ever feel like you're just oscillating and not picking, first off, that thinking back and forth, it feels really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think she just wants to encourage you. She's bringing a bit of structure to it and almost like pencils down type of thing. Like you got this amount of time and then your decision is made. And realize what that means, right? So the back and forth isn't really helping, even though that feels safe. So just go forward and structure it a little bit better. But she's also saying, oh my gosh, just for as practical as she is, there's a lot of emotion welling out of her heart. And she's like, that's where you're going to feel it from. It's not about the thinking. It's not about being analytically practical. It's about what feels right. And that needs to be in the equation as you go. Okay. Okay. What else? Did you ever go to the beach when you guys were younger?
Yeah.
I'm seeing a beach pail.
Yep.
She's showing me a beach pail and she's like, get in touch with your child self. She has an opinion and it's almost like going back into nature or doing those things again from childhood would help reorient you or recalibrate because you were already there. You already know what it is, but it's like you're going to get back into the groove. Does that resonate for you? Okay. Yeah, she wants to bring that in. Yeah. Buy yourself a red beach bucket. and even if it's a keychain, and it'll remind you to put that focus in there, put those elements in there of yourself. And yeah, okay. All right, I have a couple messages that I wrote down for you from the collective. Okay. Build your own foundation and trust that it will work because it's yours, because they're your choices, and you're going to build as you go, and you're going to love it, and you can trust in it because it's yours. Those are your decisions. And don't overthink, just be, and you really got to trust your own wisdom. Just be careful of external influences and how much it has a say. Because right now it feels like a lot of self-reflection could be helpful right now. And just, if you need someone to help you, like, make sure they're on your side and they're your champion. But that's all based on your decision and what you want to do as you're going forward. Okay? Is that helpful right now?
Yeah, it is helpful.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. I said it was delightful. I mean, it is delightful, and it was delightful. And it's just really good to spend this time with you and just know that your family is with you, because they are. And yeah, lean on that connection when you want to. Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Before we go, do you have a personal ghost story that you would like to share?
Listener ghost story.
I do. I have many, but the most whoa one was, I'm in Michigan, and we used to vacation when I was a kid, and this last time I was there, we would go to the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. And my mom and dad and I went, and I had a room. When I got to the room, it was on the same floor as the dining room. And when I was headed to the room, I said, whoa, this is down a really creepy hallway. And so I'm in with the Grand Hotel, like, you have to dress up after 5. You have to wear, if you're a guy, you have to wear a suit, you have to wear dresses, you have to dress up. So I was in my room, like, getting ready, like, just lounging around, waiting kind of to get ready for dinner. And it had 3 windows that, like, kind of overlooked where the staff would stay. And they had, like, roller shades. So, like, I was sitting there and one of the shades went up. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And then I was there and the second one went. So I pulled it down, like, I broke the shade because I pulled it down so it couldn't go back. It couldn't move anymore. And then the third one went. And I was like, ah. So then, this is completely, I have no idea why. I said, I don't know what's here, but I'm going to go in the bathroom and I'm going to take a bath. And when I come back out, please don't be here. It wasn't anymore. I didn't spend much time in the room. I was Googling, like, is the Grand Hotel haunted? Mm-hmm. And yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Before the blinds started acting up, did it feel like there was someone in the room?
It felt like that hallway. Yeah. My initial reaction was, this is creepy. You know what I mean? Like, so I innately felt it was different. It was, it was darker there. It wasn't, like, my parents' room was, like, upstairs, more bright, Mine was kind of off to the side, and it was just different. I haven't been back since. And my mom was like, go tell the front desk and have them move you. I'm like, I don't want to go to the front desk and tell them there's a ghost in my room and I gotta change rooms.
And it's like, okay, one blind going up, you can dismiss that. The second one, you're like, okay, what's going on? By the third one, it's like, all right, no, this is super spooky. And you're right to be like, I'm going to get back. When I come back, please be gone.
It wasn't like a scary thing. Like, it was scary, but it wasn't like a menacing thing. It felt like a jokey thing, you know?
Sure. Still, it's unexpected. And if you're by yourself, it's not something you want to turn the light off on and go to bed.
Nope.
Well, when you asked it to leave you alone, did it leave you alone the rest of the time you were there?
It did. I didn't have any more experiences.
Yeah.
And my parents believed me. They were like, okay,
that's good.
I believe
there's so many parents in life, and you were an adult at the time, but the parents, you hear these stories of kids that have ghostly experiences and their parents are like, it was just your imagination. I'm always glad when parents listen and believe you, no matter what your age. Yeah, so this is the Grand Hotel in Mackinac?
In Mackinac Island, yeah.
Nice.
If you want the creepy room, it's on the level with the dining room.
I think I do. I think I kind of want the creepy room. Thanks again, Heidi. What an awesome story.
Thank you.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening, so thank you for joining me here. Tonight as I work, I have with me fluorite. Now, this is the darkest piece of fluorite I have ever come across. It's very dark purple, nearly black, if you can imagine it. If you watch this on YouTube, perhaps you can pick up the color in this light. I love this piece of fluorite. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I got it at a paranormal convention. Now, fluorite is said to help purify and stabilize energy and has the ability to help you kind of calm your mind a bit, able to focus more and bring that energy into your work. So that, again, is fluorite. At this time, I quiet my mind, open my space spiritually, and call a spirit close. The sense of the personality that is coming in. She was a force. She knew who she was and didn't mind expressing it. It feels to me like this would be your mom. And you very much saw her as kind of a loving, protective shield in life. And her example really helped you understand that your own energy can influence others and to not be intimidated by other people. You didn't find her intimidating. She's showing me that when you were little, the two of you really loved watching Charlie Brown together. And to this day, Snoopy still reminds you of her. I get the sense she worked at a school. It feels more like administrative than teacher. I could be wrong, but that's how my senses are interpreting it. Yeah, she was your rock and really helped you sort through the conflicts of life. It feels like she's coming to me now because of your health issues. She's communicating to me that you're having a hard time being diagnosed and treated, and she wants to lend you that strength to not give up, don't despair, and that it isn't bossy or pushy to continue to advocate for yourself. She is very proud of you, and with your life, she wants to continue to encourage you that you are doing the right things and you're on the right path, and to persevere and keep going. I think I'm going to leave it at that. If these details and this message connects for you, I hope it gives you a sense of resilience and comfort. If it does connect for you, please reach out, because I always do like to know. Thank you. Before we part ways into the shadows this evening, dear listener, I would love to give a spooky shout out to my Patreon supporters. If you're interested in supporting the podcast and being part of the shout out as well, please head on over to patreon.com/italktoghosts. And now for the thank you. I can't thank you enough and express my appreciation for your support of the podcast. A spooky thank you to Jake, Peter, Aurora, Matthew, Gabe, Alex, Caligo, Amanda, Daniel, Claire, Stephen, Charles and family, Gabrielle, James, Jennifer A., Peter, Raven and Jenna, Rob, and Stephanie. Thank you again for all your heartfelt support, because it really does directly help keep this podcast going. So thank you from the bottom of my spooky and spiritual heart. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed my spirit work that I shared with you tonight, as well as those tales of haunted pubs. Have you ever gone to an establishment and witnessed a haunting? I would love to hear the details, so please reach out. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.